Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Do you know how many Russians were killed by the Ukrainians in this war? Well, according to the Ukrainians, who are very clear in telling us exactly how many Russians are dead, it's about what? 250,000 Russians or so? About that. You hear this from the Ukrainians, you hear this from the Western media. But do you know how many Ukrainians died? When was the last time Reuters told you that? Or CNN? Or any Ukrainian media outlets? So, according to the Russians, in this counteroffensive, about 50,000 Ukrainians were killed. So in 2 months. That's according to the Russians. All right. So all this information comes from the warring parts, warring sides, Ukrainians and Russians. But we have here the retired U.S. military colonel McGregor, Douglas McGregor, who was interviewed by Tucker Carlson, I think yesterday. I watched the whole hour and so interview, and very interesting what Colonel McGregor states. Nothing surprised me, but this amount, for instance, he came out and said that actually the proportion between the Ukrainian losses, military losses, troops, and Russians is 5-1. So he says that the Ukrainians lost a lot of people. I will play the video for you, the clip, and the Russians not 250,000 as we're told. And very interesting numbers. Let me show you this video here. It's just a few seconds that I picked for this particular subject. All right, ready, set, and go.
Life.
What do you think the casualty numbers are in Russia?
You know, that's a hard one to estimate. I think probably 50,000, 40 to 50,000 killed, maybe another 40 to 50,000 wounded.
Wait, total?
Yes.
As compared to the Ukrainian?
400,000 dead. Yeah.
So this is...
The ratio is 1 to 5.
You believe those numbers are roughly accurate?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And these are
50,000 to 400,000, that's a larger country, or with a much smaller country with a much smaller military. I mean, that's a grotesque.
Oh, it is. And the manpower is leaving Ukraine as quickly as it could get out because people don't want to be thrown into the meat grinder. You can't defeat what the Russians have built.
All right. Well, what do you think about this statement? What do you think about those numbers? Well, personally, I don't know where he got those numbers. He said that he believes those. So those estimates. That means someone else made the estimates. I've never heard those numbers before, and I share them with you. I don't know. Colonel McGregor makes a lot of statements, certain statements. This is an estimate, obviously, and he says, I believe those estimates. But it's a very interesting interview. I watched Colonel McGregor many times. I think, I don't want to say every time he appeared at, I think every time he appeared at Tucker, when Tucker had his show at Fox. And also I watched him, Colonel McGregor, appearing, I can remember, MSNBC, I think it was, to a weasel, when Colonel McGregor called Zelensky right there. That's why he's not invited there anymore. You're not going to find McGregor invited to the mainstream mass media again. I almost guarantee you that. And he said that Zelensky is just a puppet. That's what he said. I'm quoting McGregor. Zelensky is just a puppet. We control him. He's just a comedian. And the host, the guy from MSNBC, I think he was a man. He said, well, I disagree with that. And of course, well, I was supposed to say, yeah, you're right. And since then, he's out. I've never heard him about this guy, McGregor, at mainstream mass media promoted. And that reminds me of another guy. His name is Stephen Cohen. If you're familiar with Stephen Cohen, he died a few years ago. He was an American, Jewish origin, very intelligent individual. He was a professor emeritus of Russian studies, some prestigious universities. Fantastic guy, fantastic. I recommend him 100% for you to listen to that guy. I liked almost everything about what the guy said. And not that the way he was thinking, the way he was conveying the message. So the same, Mr. Stephen Cohen was invited a few times about 10 years before he died. He was invited again by the mainstream media and all that. After he said certain things that he was not supposed to, he was not invited, and he said that as well in one of the podcasts that he was invited to as an interview. So then he just participated in low, how should I put it, exposure media outlets, not the mainstream. He was never brought back to the mainstream. Why? He was not telling the narrative. The same with McGregor. He's out. Bye. Forever. Unless something changes here and we have a different media and a different political structure and so on, which that means something bigger than just a little an order. So here you have 400,000 versus 50,000. I don't know. What do you think? But you see, this guy, which has credibility, is making this kind of statements. I'm talking about the colonel. Has credibility. He makes these statements, and you won't find these statements taken seriously by the mainstream mass media. I don't think they will not even utter the words he said right here. And if they do, they will call him a nut job and conspiracy theorist and Russian blah 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 blah. You know, the whole package. Instead of counter the statements, with counter arguments, no, they will just attack the person. And they will say, well, dumb, that's impossible, without providing evidence. Then their evidence would be, hey, can you hear what he said? McGregor? The same will be, usually that's what they do. Hey, you're not right. Why? Because Tom Jones says otherwise. Well, it doesn't mean shit if Tom Jones said that. I want to know where Tom Jones got his information. The same here. I would like to know, for instance, where Mr. McGregor, Colonel McGregor, got his numbers. Remember, I'm not here to support or to cut his legs or anything. He's his own man, and he knows what he's talking about. But I would like to know where are the sources he cites here. The numbers. Anyway, 400,000, 50,000. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.